Everyone, after a little bit of qualifier stacking craziness causing a little bit of delay, we are finally underway here with our best of three here for the PGL Bucharest Major 2018 SEA qualifiers. It's Fnatic versus Execration in Group A. It's two GSL groups. This is the winner's match. The winner of this game, well, the winner of this series, is going to be moving forward into the next round. The loser is not out just yet. They will have still another opportunity to continue advancing forward. With all that said, we can get into our draft. I'm Basekip, and it's also my pleasure to welcome in my co-caster Lumi once again for some more SEA Dota action.
Thanks for having me, and should be exciting to see. I think both of these teams are definitely within the top 5 of the SEA region. Fnatic often vying between top 3, whereas Execration is outside looking in. They're still playing with a bunch of stand-ins, although I believe Yaj is now an official member of the team. Don't quote me on that. Carl playing a mid yesterday, and Nando playing carry. Yep. So they had a couple of good games. Did go to the full 3-game series, and honestly, I think they should have won the game instead of going for the full game. But hey, you know.
Yeah, they made it across the line in the end. That's what matters.
Yep.
So we'll see how these two teams match up. It's been interesting with all of these qualifiers going on. There's actually quite a lot of drafts to look at for both of these two teams, and there are a couple of little patterns that emerge here and there. Like you look at Fnatic and their last official before any of these qualifiers started was at the summit. And back at the summit, I think they were both banning and picking Night Stalker a little bit, and now they've just been banning it completely. I think there's even been a couple of drafts where they could have had the opportunity to let it through and pick it themselves, and they just haven't really bothered, so they're just going to continue banning at the NS. And lots of position 4 hate in this opening, but that shouldn't be too much of a surprise, right, Lumi?
No, I don't think so. The position 4 heroes are generally the ones that could dictate the early to mid game the most, and could sometimes even transition into a semi carry. So there's definitely a lot of power within those heroes. But the Doom first phase pick starting to become a pretty standard thing here, at least for Team Execration.
Yeah, and Fnatic really like this this 1-2 as well with the Shadow Shaman ET, sort of similar to what we were talking about yesterday with some of these position 5 heroes that kind of play like a 4, and 4s, the range supports that are playing more like a 4, and then the melee 5s. They really like giving DJ the Shadow Shaman, and then Pylai Dai handling the Elder Titan. So probably going to be seeing that again. I think the other thing that they've been doing is like DJ Rubik occasionally, and then they give Pi like an Ogre or something along those lines. But those seem to be a bit of a Fnatic staple at this point.
Yeah, normally your 5s kind of just taper off and become relatively useless during the mid game, but Elder Titan is definitely not it. In fact, he's one of those 5s that you want to have a ton of levels on, just to max out that aura. His ultimate is going to be very impactful, and of course, it just makes positioning super difficult. Although it seems like his aura might not have too much relevancy, at least the physical armor part of it, because both these heroes don't have much armor to speak with. But I guess the magic part of it is always going to be good.
Yeah, definitely going to be helpful pretty much no matter what. And the fact that it's always on the spirit as well. You don't really have to be in too precarious of a position to actually use the magic part of it. But Execration, I mean, you touched on the Doom for a second. It does seem like it's something that's been becoming a little bit more popular as of late. Or they picked it once, I want to say, in their series that we cast yesterday. It was picked against them once as well by Boom. So I guess maybe just kind of feeling the pick a little bit. I don't know if they picked it today. I'm actually going to go and have a look and see what their drafts were like today.
Well, regardless of whether they picked it or not, it feels like it's always a very highly contested hero.
Yeah. Yeah, they first picked it against TNC earlier today in the ESL1 qualifier. So they did end up losing that series. Yeah, but yeah, they've certainly been picking it. And then the third game yesterday that we cast versus Boom, they first overall picked it as well. They've also been playing quite a bit of Razor, but they're actually going to ban it out themselves here. And we just get a little bit of position 5 hate out of Fnatic, since, I mean, Execration have already picked 2 of their cores. Though I guess position 4 Doom not really a thing these days. That there was a time where position 4 Doom was kind of a thing.
It is possible. I think the most recent showing of the position 4 Doom was played by. Ooh, what was the Chinese team in Summit? I mean, I should know this. I was their admin the whole time.
You've put me on the spot now.
They have Yao, they have FY, LGD, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure just for my own
All right,
peace
so
of mind.
the story goes is that they were losing, they were doing very poorly, and then for the very last match of the tournament, they decided to put FY back on the position 4, and whoever back to position 3, and then FY played at position 4 Doom there. They still lost the game, but he was able to roam around, do quite a lot of ganking.
Yeah. And this is a very interesting pick from Fnatic here. I wonder if they have some particular plan in mind. I mean, it is the Wraith King is just a good pick against Doom in general, and I think probably not too bad against Tiny either. You know, he combos you, but then he's going to get slowed potentially by your ultimate, and at that point it's fairly easy for you to tear him apart. So I was calling for the Wraith King pick yesterday. I'm a big fan of this hero, so I'm excited to see him come out. But I don't know if it's too early. I guess he's more difficult to counter now that he's got the reincarnation mana cost at level 20. You can just kind of play defensively until that point, and then be fine against a lot of the traditional Wraith King counters.
Yeah, not only is he just a good hero in this draft, but to me he's a very good Jackie Mao hero, because Jackie tends to play off to the side lanes a lot, and he puts himself in harm's way, or he throws himself forward to basically bait the enemy team in to create space and time for his allies to come through. When you're so tanky to begin with, and when you have 2 life, it to me really embodies Jackie's playstyle. Of course, he also does the whole split pushing thing, and that's why it's heroes like Terrorblade and PL is definitely his go-to. But whenever I see him play Wraith King, I often feel much more comfortable as a Fnatic fan, because the chances of throw is a little bit lower.
Nice. Yeah, you got some extra lives to work with for sure. It was interesting because yesterday I feel like it was Envy taking sort of the safest farm on the map as his Monkey King in that one game that we saw. But like you're saying, he does also sometimes pressure the side lanes really, really hard and create some space for the rest of his team that way, which is one of the nice things about Fnatic as a team, and one of the nice things about a lot of the teams that Envy has played on is that he does kind of he's able to sort of play either that position 2 in terms of overall priority and make space for somebody else, similar to when Excalibur was on the team, and now that they've got Abed, he can also play the sort of very protected hard farmer sort of role, which does seem to be like that style of carry has come back a little bit more in this patch compared to some of the previous patches that we've seen.
I think to be a successful carry player in the highest levels, you have to be able to play the hard one when it calls for it, but also needs to play 2 from the safe lane. I mean, if we could give a little bit of history lesson, back in DK, like TI4 era, Burning was used to be a prototypical, hey, I'm gonna farm from the safe lane piece for 25 minutes and I'm come out carry. But in that season, he made a very strong transition to basically play the tempo controller from the safe lane. He was playing heroes like Pugna and making it work in a safe lane. And to me, that was a level up moment for Burning, and that's why he was classified as one of the greats. I mean, he was already an amazing player, but to me, he stepped up his game in the DK days, and there's a lot of carry players that's following his footsteps these days as well.
Yeah, and that trend has continued. You look at Liquid's success with what Matumba Man has been doing. You look at OG as well with No Tail playing a more sacrificial role when required, when the patch kind of dictated that was necessary, and they have a lot of success with it. So like you're saying, I think that's just becoming the hallmark of what people want in a carry in the current state of the game. But we got a couple more picks to talk about. We got the Underlord coming out from Fnatic. They've been playing a little bit of this recently. I think they can kind of get away with it this game since they have some other catch from the Wraith King and the Shadow Shaman and the ET, so they don't necessarily need Ohio to be doing all of the heavy lifting in that department. But We also have a silencer coming out of Execration, which, I mean, other than the maybe like canceling a shackle, it doesn't look that impressive to me at the moment. What do you make of the silencer pick?
It seems like a very terrible silencer pick, because
Yeah.
silencer is one of those heroes that you don't want to play against Wraith King, right? Like, he has 2 lives. He doesn't care about being global at all. Phantom Lancer is a very good counter to Wraith King. But like you mentioned, Wraith King getting the respawn talent at 20 now instead of 25 will make it a lot easier for him to survive the inevitable diffusal blade that's going to come out for the PL.
Yeah, and the PL does not feel easy to play against the rest of the Fnatic lineup either. Like, just ET throwing out a sleep can potentially be really annoying, might even end up revealing where you are if you happen to get slapped in the middle of all of your illusions and they just despawn and you're left all by yourself. Long single target lockdown like the Shadow Shaman can also be annoying for the PL. You get caught once and then you're just gone, right? If you see a PL get hexed, you know that that's the real one, because otherwise the illusion would have just instantly disappeared.
I guess that is the power of the silencer here, because with the silencer around, PL essentially also have a get out of jail free card, much like Wraith King. So it's not the worst. It is a tough PL game because he needs to do a lot of the lifting. I mean, Tiny, you could say that, hey, Tiny could do a lot of burst damage as well, but if you look at the cores of Fnatic, Wraith King, Underlord, I don't think they give 2 hoots about Tiny. So it's really down to the PL to do the heavy lifting here.
I worry about the Tiny and the PL this game because they're both base damage heroes, right? They don't really build that much plus damage. You know, PL because he's relying on illusions, and Tiny just because he generally tends to stat up and he's got a lot coming from Grow. But that means that the aura from Underlord is gonna shred their damage. And now we've got this Timbersaw pickup as well, which I think is great against both these heroes. I really, really like Fnatic's draft. I'm very happy to call this a draft win for them, but we'll see what Execration can do. How about you?
Yes. So Nando's playing the Tiny, so I think Tiny's going the safe lane, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Carl's
Carl
their
was
mid
the
lane
mid
player. I mean,
so.
yeah, obviously they can switch lanes, so but I think the matchup is going to be very favorable in that sense as well. I was actually talking to the coach of Fnatic in the summit, and he was saying that they really like the matchup of Underlord against the safe lane Tiny. And that's why they pick it into a lot. To me, it doesn't make too much sense because I feel like Tiny could just outlast it and out-deny you, but he was saying that your aura allows you to, once you get a couple of creep kills under your belt, you're able to pressure Tiny quite easily with right clicks. And Tiny being a melee hero, the Firestorm also makes it annoying for him to come in for CS. So it's definitely a matchup that Ohio is very comfortable playing, and he has played that matchup a lot.
Yeah, I can also kind of see the angle of Tiny being a melee hero with relatively low armor. It's hard for him to be forced to play under the tower. Like, sure, you'll probably get the majority of the CS because you have insane base damage and you're going to pick up a Quelling Blade, but just tanking those creeps under the tower is not going to be fun. So yeah, I guess that's probably part of it as well. Got a little bit of good luck coming out. Everybody seems relatively relaxed. Nobody, Execration were not. They didn't even rock up into the lobby on time. They probably were watching Fnatic's game and they're like, yeah, we know that they're still in a game. We'll just wait until their game ends and then we'll turn up. I think everybody is trying to, at least as far as the teams go, everybody seems to be doing their best to, give everyone leeway, and everyone's pretty understanding that there's tons and tons of qualifiers going on at the moment.
So with the Silencer pick, the other issue with that is that Silencer's almost always played as a 5. And as such, they put the Raging Potato on Ogre, which is, not exactly a good 4 hero, simply because he can't farm or creep clear. So I wonder how he plays it. In the past, whenever Ogre gets farmed, I've seen a ton of different item selection that you could get. Of course, things like Force Staff is always a pretty good go-to, but I remember, was it DJ or Ninja Boogie played a bunch of position 4 Ogre back in TI6 era, and he would go mech into Greaves. I'm not sure if we're gonna see Raging Potato. Well, first of all, if he's gonna get farm, and second of all, what he's gonna get when he does get farm. But if he does go for Greaves, that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the other option is that he'll maybe take over. Well, it's interesting. I'm about to say that, you know, maybe he'll take over the warding and then the silencer starts to get some more farm. But knowing these two players and having seen how they played yesterday, it's definitely a Raging Potato who's going to be getting more CS. I mean, he was building, I think he was building like right click on his Night Stalker last night. And Lumic is definitely a super sacrificial support player. Who's not really going to be doing too much farming, so... Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
I'm voting for the Kaya Aghanims on Ogre. That's what I want to see. But
okay, yeah, sure.
Strats. The mana cost reduction does work on the unrefined Fire Blast, which is supposed to cost what, like 60% of your current mana pool. So it's actually a pretty interesting interaction.
Looks like we have a little bit of lane switch here as the Tiny now ports into Ohio's lane. Meanwhile, the offensive tri-lane of Fnatic is now going to contend against Doom. Yeah, I'm just going to start eating some stun here. There isn't a clap available, but they're doing a significant amount of damage to Yaj.
Yeah, don't have a shackle or anything just yet. DJ was just around the corner. Meanwhile, over at mid lane, Abed doing very nicely on his Timbersaw. I can't really imagine the Phantom Lancer doing all that much in this lane. I mean, I don't know if he'll necessarily die, but PL's laning very much... Oh, missed the first blood. Darn it. Ohio getting brought down at bottom. Looks like maybe got... Not even tossed, just kind of run down by the Ogre with his Orb of Venom. And meanwhile up top, we got the Shackle over onto the Doom. Looks like he'll be brought down. One more auto attack. We'll finish it off. And Elder Titan, he's going to be A-OK. So a couple of kills.
Good thing that... Yeah, good thing that they are able to get a kill on the bottom lane against Ohio, because I feel like once Ohio gets level 3, he's not going to die anymore. Once he has 2 points in Atrophy Aura. And I'm not sure exactly what this Ogre could do in the early game. Normally he's king in this phase of the game, able to harass and win multiple lanes, but you can't really do anything against Timbersaw now that he has 2 points in reactive. And once Ohio picks up, you know, his level 2 Atrophy Aura, I also don't think you could work against him too much, so... To me, Ogre is somewhat stranded this game.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of his early game impact, not really going to be there. The Bloodlust still going to be useful as the game goes on, but like you're saying, I don't know where he can really gank past a certain point. And some more damage being dealt down on the Doom, Envy just lobbing out a stun there, tanks some tower shots on his way back. But Fnatic seemingly pretty happy with how all of these lanes are going right now. And the PL's getting good CS, but like we said, I don't really know if this is a game where they're that worried about the Phantom Lancer, especially with all the AoE from the Timber and the Underlord.
We haven't talked about the Timbersaw at all.
Nope.
In terms of him being the final pick, but the obvious thing is that there's 3 strength heroes. He is picked into a Doom and a Silencer, which are usually very good counters to him. But kind of waiting to see how it plays out.
Oh, alright, can they get the toss back here in Ohio? They're going to drag him away from the tower. What's he going to do? Just try and grab some CS. Looks like he has accepted his fate. He's going to be brought down in one more swipe up top. It is the position 3 on the other side also being brought down. Highlight Die and DJ tanking some damage off of the curse, but not a whole lot that Lumic can really do to counter-initiate any of these attempts on the life of the Doom.
I'm very surprised that Ohio went for the second point in Firestorm. It helps him get some CS, but in terms of surviving that lane, he really needs the Atrophy Aura.
Yeah, I think his plan was probably just... Well, I saw him pick up the second point in the Firestorm, and then he immediately went to the small camp and just tried to farm it up.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. So he was... This
Doom
just
gonna die again.
Yeah, Doom just dying over and over. Well, looks like Envy might be brought down though. Raging Potato looking angry. A couple more auto attacks should do it. Envy popping the soul ring, trying to get off one more stun. Yeah, DJ looking very dead as well. No mana left in the tank. Just doing as much damage to Lumic as he possibly can before he goes down. Stomp will end up catching Raging Potato, but too little too late. Pi pokes his nose around the corner to see that Lumic is retreating. Meanwhile, over at mid, Abed out of mana. Does have a mango that he can pop if he sees an opportunity. Carl doesn't actually have his doppelganger. He does have 15 wand charges, so does have that in the tank to save him. But tons of action in this early game so far. Plenty of kills.
Ohio getting slapped on a little bit by Nando. Toss is available. And you can see why Ohio is having such a tough time. Nando just walks up to him and smacks him 5 times with a tree. Nothing much you could do. Top lane.
Ooh, they smoked right on top of this ward.
Out.
Yeah, so Fnatic should know what's going on, but is that going to be enough to save them? DJ's quite slow on the Shadow Shaman. Envy's going to be the one to head in first. He scouts this out. They're going to lob a stun over onto the Silencers. Stomp helping create some space as well, but Raging Potato's going to wake up in just a second, and that should be the end for Eternal Envy. Pretty clutch rotation out of Carl, and an immediate TP to mid. Does not want to lose too much HP on this tier 1 tower to the siege creep, but he might not have that much of a say in the matter. Abed's pushing this wave really hard.
Yeah. I mean, Timbersaw normally doesn't push towers very well, but one thing he can do is just stand under the tower and tank it for days. And when you have the siege creep also wailing at it, this is generally how Timbersaw takes the early tier 1 towers.
Oh, is that an Arcane Rune waiting inside of Paladai? Yep, he's just body blocking that as Raging Potato comes over.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Raging Potato, did he buy this ward? No, that's a ward from Lumic. Just keeping an eye on the item progression, though. He's only got 1 CS to his name right now.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And 43 CS on the Abed Timber, though. PL not lagging too far behind, though. Carl needing to be careful. Still holding all those wand charges in reserve.
You see that tower HP that dropped to 25%? That's literally the siege unit. The one siege unit that just hit it for, I think, a full 20 seconds. That was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Abed tanked it himself a little bit. He had a double wave pushing in right as the wagon arrived. So. Well, maybe they'll even be able to finish it. The Glyph's going to get forced out. Nando has queued up a Shadow Blade as his item selection this game. They don't have any other invis on their team, so it's going to be a helpful initiation tool. And I don't think they necessarily lack damage, but it's also, like we said, the solo kill potential for the Tiny with just the Avatos combo is maybe a little bit lacking in this situation. Ohio just TPing out completely sidesteps the Avalanche. Just managed to hold onto his tower a tiny bit longer, but it looks like it will end up dropping eventually as the tier 1 tower gets taken out at mid. Oop, and now more damage onto Yad. She just walked a little bit too far forward, copped a stun, and just the Ether Shock to finish him off.
I mean, Yad just been really overestimating how much he could take as Doom. He was playing this hero yesterday against Fnatic as well, right? And I remember it was actually the CK, MVCK, just running him down as well. And I believe in the bottom lane matchup.
No, that would have been against AGV, right? That's who Fnatic played.
Yeah, okay, AGV. Sorry.
Yeah. Abed. More damage being traded at mid, but at the same time, Envy and DJ just chasing down Lumic. He just wanted the bounty run, poor guy. Or was rotating through. This ward from Fnatic is very unusual, but seems to be working quite nicely for them in terms of spotting rotations towards top, knowing who's around, who can actually help out any of the... Well, help out the Doom specifically. He's the one that's really struggling.
Yeah, I've seen Envy play this hero multiple times now, and he always goes for the slow ring, and as soon as he finishes it, he's just gonna lob stuns at you non-stop. It's actually one of the higher damaging nukes with the stun tacked on. There's not much counterplay to it.
Big
now,
wraparound
here comes
up
the whole
top.
squad.
Yeah, Ogre's here. There is Abed here to help out as well, but Carl also rotating through. How much damage can the PL really do? Envy doesn't have level 6 just yet, so he'll be brought down. That's another couple of int for the silencer. Shadow Shaman just going to TP out. Abed trying for the TP out. There's a Fire Blast and a Doom just to make sure of this one. And he has no way out. Still relatively tanky, but Carl just waited. Oh, Carl was trying to wait for the last hit. Could not quite grab it, unfortunately for him. But very successful rotation. 5-man rotation, in fact, out of Execration.
Yeah, they're not really getting punished for that rotation either because, well, they already lost the mid tower. And now it looks like they're going to try to make a defense. Ohio porting in. Firestorm is available to slow down this push.
I mean, it will deter them a little bit. I guess they're all still kind of stuck up here, and Raging Potato may be a little bit too far forward. Can we get the shackle through the trees? Yes, we can. Nando with the Avatos doing some damage, but is it going to be enough? They've got the pit coming out. Raging Potato still tanking tower shots. Looks like he will be finished off. Nando's trapped inside of the Mass Serpent Wards. Very nicely done by DJ. That's what we expect from him. And Lumic, well, he'll manage to scoot away. Actually has some phase boots on the silencer. I don't know quite when he managed to pick those up. Envy's ultimate did get popped in the middle of all of this, but
yeah, he actually survived the fight, but then died to like Urn and the silencer or Dot. But phase boost silencer, that's the first time I ever seen that. Sure, why not? I mean, the hero could actually now CS, or rather like neutral a little bit, and it is one of the slower heroes. You could kind of move around the fights a little bit, which is not terribly important normally, but hey. Phase boots is phase boots.
He's gonna scale. He's gonna get the bloodlust. He's got the phase boots. He's got 10 stolen ints, which is, I mean, not insanely relevant, but a hero like Wraith King actually losing a little bit of int early on is pretty annoying. He doesn't really build that many mana items, and he's also going for a Shadow Blade this game. So the mana demands of Envy's build are actually going to be pretty high.
He's got a Soul Ring. Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, he'll probably be fine. Abed looping around up top, but they are actually going onto DJ. It looks like he should be brought down. The Stomp opening up some space. He's still getting ticked out, though, and I think he might just be dead to all the damage over time. He's gone. Lumic going to get the +2 as a result, and that can they actually find here. Looks like Lumic will be finished off on the one side. Raging Potato does have this Shrine. Is that going to be enough to save him? We've got another stun from Envy coming up in just a second. They do manage to interrupt the Stomp as Yaj now joins the fight. 5 seconds till he has Doom. Envy just getting right-clicked down. He doesn't have that ultimate. He'll be finished off. Abed still doing good work. The Earth Splitter's going to be coming through. Yaj trying to sidestep it. Will be able to. Carl's now also arrived. Pylai just trying to get out of there. One more Spirit Lancer. A couple more auto attacks should finish him. Carl hoping for the Shrine, but it isn't there. And now he's just juking back towards Nando. The Avalanche is going to help keep him alive a little bit longer. He does get rooted up. Not going to be a Timber Chain. It's actually the Whirling Death that finishes him. And now Nando, full HP, just going to wand up, and looks like he'll be A-okay. So that overall fight was a 3 for 4. Oh my god. Just everybody getting involved.
I'm surprised MV is taking such an active stance to find these fights. Generally, you see Wraith Kings when their ult is down, you just kind of farm until your ult is back up, and then you take more team fights. Honestly, Wraith King doesn't farm very fast either, so hope to see him just take some farm. As to say that though, Raging Potato.
They find Raging Potato. They can stomp him up, but Yaj is just around the corner. They're going to throw out the Doom onto Envy. Can they finish him off? That Infernal Blade going to do decent damage. And Raging Potato even looking for more turns around now. Gets crit up a little bit. Pylai. All he can really do is just kind of watch around the corner. Will manage to cancel the urn, so a little bit of spite, at least in the end. Lumic is going to get shackled up. Abed going to make very quick work of him. Maybe the Ether Shock from DJ will finish off that kill. And now they're coming around the corner. Nando has already comboed down the Elder Titan in the back lines. He's going to try and make it to the Shrine. Won't get the opportunity. The toss is there, and Nando picks up the double. That's the unveiling of the Shadow Blade, I believe, and grand unveiling it was. Picking up 2 kills on the Tiny.
DJ now
he's
running into... he doesn't have a ward here either, and they know exactly where he is. DJ is going to be dead. No, wait. Walking away.
They both have stuns. There's no way.
I don't think.
Oh no, you're int. The int. Oh, Lumic gonna come in and pick it up.
14 in on him. Global has not been used at all, so we'll have it for the upcoming fights.
We got Underlord just picking up his hood. Looks like he's going to be going for a Crimson Guard after that. Certainly a very nice item to have against the Phantom Lancer. Well, Vanguard so far, probably Crimson shortly after that. But yeah, going back
Fnatic.
Oh, going back to your point about the
pump their break.
Oh yeah, they do. I think they need to. Yeah, the Wraith King needs to get some farm. In all honesty, he's just doesn't really have all that much. I mean, he doesn't have a farming build necessarily, and no points in the Vampiric Aura. Does have 3 points in the Mortal Strike now, but it seems like they got to chill out a bit. Just wait for some items.
Seems like farm is not the thing they have in mind. Like, for example, look at that bottom wave right next to the tier 2.
Yeah.
Normally, carry player would just love to be there, but instead, 3-man smoke up. Is this going to be the standard sneak Roche from Fnatic? They're looking for kills, and the fact that the wave is so pushed on the bottom and there's no one farming it, to me, is a Very big giveaway.
Yeah, I wonder, are they just gonna try and get this tower with the wards? Oh, over in mid lane, maybe a little bit of trouble for the Timber. Does manage to make it up onto the high ground. Nando still hot on his tail and might be able to toss him back to his team. That's what he's looking towards. They throw him over towards Carl. Now the global silence coming in. Abed unable to save himself. Tanks for a little bit, but will be brought down. Another +2 on the pile. Meanwhile, the Mass Serpent Ward's making pretty quick work of this tier 2. Ohio looking to try and finish it off. He's actually kind of low. Needs to be careful. One more hit does it, and he'll be heading back towards the mid lane. Actually, a nice place to teleport, realizing that that's where the immediate push from Execration is going to be coming from, but a little bit low on HP to be sticking around.
Yeah. TP's there. Realize he can't defend.
Walk back to
Wish he
base.
could have TP home. Wait. He's got a salve coming out. Alright, good preparation. But it looks like the tower is not going to get defended.
Pi getting caught up by Raging Potato and Lumic here. He will be able to get off the sleep, but Lumic's just laying in with the right clicks. Give him another +2. He misses up the hill. Does he miss again? No, not that time around. Lumic can pick that one up for 280 gold.
He's got +18 intelligence. And
I'm telling you, Lumic.
Again,
he's transitioning.
he's not going to I don't think he will, right? Because this is Lumic.
No, it's just, yeah, you can already look at the net worth between the Ogre and the Silencer, and you know that he's not. Envy, dropping kind of low there, will be able to get into the Shadow Blade in a way. The Diffusal Blade is now up on the PL, so a pretty dangerous period of the game for Wraith King now. But Execration, do you feel like they scale pretty well, right? It's not like they're necessarily on a timer this game, but this is a pretty big peak that they're hitting at the moment to try and get some things done. Tiny even picking up a Silver Edge, so that's gonna help their cause in killing off this Underlord, and even the Timber Saw as well, very useful.
I want to speak to the scaling of Silencer a little bit. His ultimate in particular has a very interesting scaling where it's really strong for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and then the first BKB comes out, and then you essentially are playing 4v5 because your Silencer does nothing. But then, if you kind of last for 20 more minutes or so until all those BKBs are down to 5 seconds, all of a sudden he becomes really good again. So, to me, he has a very interesting kind of ups and down in the game. But of course, we're kind of also talking about his carry potential.
Yeah.
If you're looking at kind of semi-carry with Silencer, I think Power Tress is just better in terms of just kind of
if you're just going to
outputting
be able to
damage.
stand there and hit people.
Yeah. But Phase is always a decent item for farming and getting to that point where you're strong.
Fnatic continuing to... It feels like to me they're really just playing around the Mass Serpent Wards, right? Every single time it's up, they're trying to make some kind of a play, make something happen. Envy, only level 9 at the moment. Huge level discrepancy between him and Ohio and Abed. I guess that's kind of the role that he's playing in this game, but still a bit concerning. I mean, we were talking about Wraith King getting to level 20 and then no longer being countered by the Phantom Lancer. At this rate of farm, Envy's is not going to get there anytime soon. Oh, hit this spot.
Ogre.
He's pretty tanky. He does have his Spirit Vessel up. The Global Silence is going to be popped to try and save him. Got to keep that Bloodlust machine alive. Mass Serpent Ward's getting dropped down. They control the space around this ramp very nicely. Abed pressing forward. Doom not going to be able to get off any spells in this fight. He does have a buyback available, but no great place to engage. And looks like Nando just going to try and scoop past. Does get the Avatos combo. The drive-by on Abed. Mega kill streak picked up. And actually makes that fight not too bad overall, as they do manage to put a dent in the Timber's Bloodstone charges. He's back up, but still.
Well, we keep saying that, Underlord, Timber, Wraith King, these heroes are very good against the Tiny because you can stand in front line and survive his combination. Well, at least not right now, because these nukes are definitely doing enough.
Yeah, and his right click is going to start picking up as we get a little bit further in. Oh, they want him again. Abed, Timber chaining away, Raging Potato trying to close the gap. They might just have to toss the Ogre on top of him if they really want this kill, but I don't know if they're going to have the damage then, and I think Nando realizing that, just going to back out. They get the sleep onto the Ogre, and I think he's just going to be completely left for dead. Going to try for the TP out. Can they burst him in time? Raging Potato! Alright, just barely finished off. And now the chase is on. Can they find Nando? He goes for the combo. Is it going to be enough damage? It will be. He gets stunned up, but it's not going to last very long. The sleep also going to end up missing, and he's now just going to try for the TP out. And there's nothing left. Nando's out of there. Oh my god.
Man, I love the fact that they're focusing on Abed so much.
Radiant's
For a couple
top
of reasons.
tower
He's
has fallen.
generally the player that's going to carry Fnatic from a deficit into a victory. And he's getting the most farm and the most farm priority this game as well. So just has the had the Bloodstone finish, and the fact that they killed him multiple times now puts his Bloodstone charge down to 7.
Bottom tower is under
So
attack.
this is looking pretty good for Execration. And we haven't really even seen the PL, apart from his too early gank, start really participating with the rest of the team yet.
Yeah, Carl's just been farming up a Storm, really. He's not too far away from his Manta. He's got level 16, so I think actually the highest level in the game, which would add a little bit more credence to your point about the fact that he has just been kind of doing his own thing, and it's been working out. Fnatic, not terrible at dealing with split push, but or not bad at split pushing themselves, though the threat of the Tiny, I think, is keeping them from actually venturing out too far on the lanes and keeping things shoved out, because he could be anywhere, and it feels like at this point he can still just kill anyone that he wants on the Fnatic side. Alright, what's Envy got? Couple more levels now. Had a DD for a second there as he scouts forward for his team. Gonna get a quick little D ward
Radiant's
here.
bottom tower is under
Fnatic
attack.
once again with the Mass Serpent wards ready to go. Not quite level 2 just yet for DJ, unfortunately. They've got really good Roshan potential, so that's something to look out for if you're Execration. Got to keep scouting that out. Fnatic could try and sneak it at some point if they're feeling like they really need the Aegis on the Timber. Nope, Tiny coming in from behind. Shadowblade versus Shadowblade. Envy also pressing forward. Raging Potato now going to spot Ohio. They should be able to burst him down very, very quickly. A couple more right clicks are going to do it, but they do end up losing the Doom. Lumic charging away as we actually end up swapping sides. Dire's team moving towards the Radiant base. Mass Serpent Ward's in the midst of all of it, and once again, just going to be the 1-for-1 trade that we saw in the early game. The Doom for the Underlord.
Yep, they did have to commit the global to that, as well as the Mass Serpent Ward, but the Mass Serpent Ward has a much lower cooldown, and honestly, once you get to this point, you don't really have too many buildings to Mass Serpent Ward. It seems like the bottom lane for Fnatic has been a very low priority. They really haven't made an attempt to actually push that tier 1 yet. So, DJ very comfortable using those Mass Serpent Wards for actual fights.
Hey, I like the
instead of tower
decision.
pushing. Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things that I'm seeing on the map at the moment is that there's a similar situation in terms of both top and bot being completely pushed out, but Execration are actually able to make use of the Radiant jungle, and Fnatic just seem way too scared to put anybody up here.
That's a tiny factor.
Which is a big problem. You would normally, like you were saying during the draft, right? The Wraith King for Envy, the idea is normally that he can push out lanes pretty aggressively and has that little bit of extra leeway. That's probably even part of the idea behind getting the Shadowblade, that it just takes... they have to commit more heroes to potentially bring you down, but... he hasn't really been able to do too much of that, and now he's just kind of going for little cost-effective items, S&Y queued up. But,
This is a pretty standard way to play core these days. It's always like phase, drums, S and Y. If you skip the drums, you get an armlet or something because you're a strength hero. But if you're doing really well, like if you haven't died so much time, I think a very good build would be like phase blink into radiance, or phase radiance into blink, just to get yourself in there and do a ton of damage. But Envy has died a couple of times, so he's going for the more for sure thing here.
I think if they decided to just do standard lanes and not go aggro, we probably would have seen a farmier build from Envy, but like we've been saying, that just isn't really his role in this game. There was a nice scan a bit earlier from Fnatic. They know that Execration are coming over on the right-hand side. Highlight able to step a bit of this damage here. They've actually locked down the Tiny pretty nicely. The Global's going to help him out, but Nando might just have to make his escape now. They are going to have a couple of Spirit Vessel, or just one Spirit Vessel charge to help top him off as they make their retreat. They're all pretty fast, but Envy closes the gap, gets the stun over onto Raging Potato. Now they've got the Earth Splitter coming through as well. That's going to finish him off. Highlight securing the kill as Execration just evacuate with everybody else. The Stomp actually catching 3 further up the hill. Abed trying to get up there with the Chakram, Timber Chain, everything else. Phantom Lines are going to get hexed up. Now he's being shackled. This is turning into an absolute disaster for Execration. Looks like they might be able to save Carl. He's actually trapped up on the cliff. They lose the secondary support. Doom still not disengaging just yet, and he did actually use the Doom in the midst of all of this. Abed just kind of running around. Nando, what can he really get done? They have to burn Envy's mana if they want to finish him off, but okay, just ends up being supports dying overall. But Doom committed. So fairly big investment from Execration to not really disengage all that well. It was a sick fight from Pi, right? Earth Splitter was good, and then somehow getting that stomp on 3 people completely set everything up.
Yeah, and he doesn't really have any items. I mean, Soul Vessel is a great item, but like he doesn't have any good setup items for himself. Still making it happen.
Poor Envy,
Well,
even after
Aether
that
Lens.
fight, not that fun.
Aether Lens on Shaman. Haven't actually seen this a lot because Shaman's one of those heroes that if you have a bit of extra gold, there's always a place to put it in. Blink Dagger, Force Staff, Aghanim Scepter. That's a lot of gold, but you know, straight up Aether Lens first is very different. Very curious.
And they're getting spotted. Still not going to last very long. Not enough time to get the stomp in here, but they are still able to just keep on chasing him down. Abed, can he get the prediction? Can he finish him off? Chakram's still on cooldown for a little bit. And Nando is going to be able to escape just courtesy of the move speed. Status resistance is pretty good. Alright, what's happening in PL land? He's been farming for a while. He's picked up a Blink Dagger now. Nice to be able to get into the back lines and find the Shadow Shaman, I suppose. Do you think that's the intention here?
I think so, because once you kill the Shaman, then Fnatic really just lose, what, half of their disables in the actual team fight. So, it's also the hero that probably takes us the least amount of time for him to kill. If you could get on top of Wraith King also, it would not be too bad. Wraith King still, again, very far away from level 20.
Yeah, and even the Elder Titan doesn't really have any counterplay either, right? He can start channeling the stomp, but then you just dodge it with Doppel and finish him off. So, should be pretty easy for Carl to just wreak havoc. And even Nando, I guess he doesn't necessarily get into the backlines as easily. I feel like Fnatic have been putting down sentries. And it has been a pretty hefty economic toll on their supports, I think, this game, just having to constantly scout for the Tiny. But we do have a Radiance queued up for Envy, so it looks like he has maybe realized that this game is going to go a little bit later than expected, and he wants to just kind of kid himself out with some bigger items. Still doesn't even have 10k net worth, though, so it's going to take a bit.
Where's the recovery Midas?
Yeah, the recovery. It's not even
27-minute Midas.
27-minute Midas. Yeah, I mean he needs his level 20, but to me it's even insulting that these skeleton talents exist. It's like,
yeah, dude. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, let's pretend like the skeleton part of the ability is a real thing. These uncontrollable skeletons that just go and do whatever the hell they want.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Instead of these talents, you get like real skeleton upgrades, right? And like, I don't know, more HP, more damage,
magic resistance,
faster. And then here's the more important part: they change the model of the skeleton; they become bigger. And then if you upgrade them 3 times, they're actually a hero size in the fights. They just run amok and hit people.
I'm down. It's like talent 1 is skeleton upgrade 1, talent 2 is skeleton upgrade 2.
It's like a necro book, you know.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, Roshan's been taken. They're charging in here with the Phantom Lancer. He's got the Aegis, but he's getting bursted down. The nice global is going to prevent him from getting bursted, and now he's actually able to turn around and start doing some damage. Timbersaw going to heal himself up while Howard trying to make the escape. We've got an Earth Splitter flying through. It is going to drag back Lumic and Raging Potato. Looks like both of the supports might end up dropping. Yaj, still waiting on that blink cooldown. Did end up using the Doom in the midst of that fight somewhere. And they've managed to get the sleepover onto Lumic, catching him out. Those phase boots not going to be enough to get him out of harm's way. There's a long-range shackle to finish him off. They can't reclaim their int, but still 2 nice kills for Fnatic. Though Aegis still intact for Carl, fortunately.
Nando cuts a wave, so this is all the wave that they have for this push. But that's going to be good enough. Here comes the skeleton unupgraded army. And the question is, are they actually gonna try to walk up the high ground? Probably cannot.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Ooh, Courier also getting sniped out. Alright, nicely done by Nando.
Dire's middle tower
What went so right for Fnatic in that fight? Was it just the positioning? Because it felt like they were kind of holding this part of the high ground with the Underlord, with the pit, and then the PL ended up getting stuck down on the low ground, and they just couldn't quite put the fight together.
Yeah, it was really just positioning. Basically, Execration fought that team fight without the PL, and it doesn't matter that, you know, he has 16k net worth. The 16k net worth was not actually in the fight. And because of that positioning, the rest of the hero that wanted to follow up also had to funnel through it. Raging Potato is going to get found here, and nice force staff away here from the clap. And so despite the fact that they just took Aegis right before that, they lost the fight, despite using global as well as a 10-second
DJ, time for the TP out. Nope. Carl found him. But yeah, they had to use a bunch of stuff defensively, right? And then PL didn't want to just pop the Aegis instantly, so he kind of had to disengage. He's got his heart now, so this kind of hit and run Slark style of gameplay becomes more viable for him at this point. Blink into the backlines, kill somebody, doppelganger away, leave some illusions behind, heal back up. He's going to become more and more difficult to deal with.
The thing about PL is that also once you hit 25, your damage on your hero just goes up so much because of the ability to crit. And bottom line?
Yeah, damage down bottom. Doom actually has Doom up in 1 second's time. They're going to be able to get the multicast out onto Abed. He does have the Bloodstone deny, but just going to try and run for dear life at the moment. A couple more auto attacks are going to do it. He's actually still regenning up. Abed's still alive. One more Timber Chain away. He's going to get blinked after by Yaj. They force staff him forward. There's the Infernal Blade. And he'll be finished off at long last. I mean, he made a little bit of space. Tier 2 also getting taken out over at mid. Aegis duration getting chewed up somewhat, but Fnatic still pretty much on the back foot. They're actually ahead in terms of experience, but as we can see, 8k net worth behind. Is there a point where...
what's...
You go.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, is there a point where they start worrying about the PL less? Is there an item that comes online and they can deal with them better, like the Shivas on the Underlord, or just more items on the Timbersaw? Is that going to help, or is this PL just kind of fully ready to go at this point for the rest of the game?
I don't think they just have a good PL answer, right? Like, Wraith King could maybe pick up, what is it, Mjolnir somewhere down the line, but I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't look easy. If they can get one disable on him, I feel like they do have enough chain lockdown to finish him, but that's where the silencer comes in, as we've been saying during this game. What were you going to say before? What do you not remember?
I don't remember. It's fine.
That's okay.
Here comes the high ground.
Yep, Outer Tower's gone. Aegis in hand. Phantom Lancer with the heart as well, ready to try and chip. Ohio doing his best to spam things out, but Carl just going to charge up onto the high ground. Envy going to take some damage, and he doesn't have that level 20 talent just yet, so does still need to be careful about the mana burn. They get the Hex over onto the Phantom Lancer, the cast range helping out nicely. They are burning him down pretty well, but there's a Force Staff away. He's being slept up. Carl just charging back in. Knows that he has the heart regen kicking in soon. And the Doppel. DJ with the extremely long-range Shackle coming in. BKB going to get popped by Yaj as he is forced to engage somewhat here. The Master Serpent getting dropped down. The Global also being used. This is a bit of an awkward fight. Yeah, Phantom Lancer maybe being left behind by his team somewhat, but he's still fighting just fine. Getting through the wards. The Aegis is actually being reclaimed. Carl now has to be at least somewhat careful. There's actually action happening down bottom as well, as Nando is finishing off the racks. He pops the BKB. Avatos getting thrown out. Do they have any detection for him? He just silver edges his way out of there. Carl, meanwhile, still distracting over at top. Underlord going to get doomed. He's tanky, but I don't think he's tanky enough. He's actually so mitigating some of the damage that way. And Carl just going to blink and TP for freedom. They do get the Hex over under the Doom. They got to damage him so he can't blink out. We'll be able to do so, and looks like we will be able to finish him off. Abed even coming in for a quick Bloodstone charge. But base in trouble. Melee Barracks taken out by the Tiny all by himself.
Yeah, very smart push where they put a ton of pressure up top and Tiny just kind of ratting it up on the bottom side of the map. And so far, this Timbersaw last pick, how do you feel about it? I'm not sure if it's really worked out the way that Fnatic had in mind.
Yeah, I think it's been tough. It's I think the plan was that they, in theory, had enough lockdown, because I think that's one of the things for Timber, right? If you have a stationary target, it's actually really easy to unload with your combo, but it's turned out to be quite difficult to like get in and get a Shackle or a Wraith King stun. off. I think that's partially just the position that they found themselves in coming out of the early game. The Tiny really started to find a bunch of pickoffs and made the map feel very small, so they couldn't go and find anything. But yeah, this has not been the like overwhelming Timbersaw last pick that I was expecting. When I saw the hero get picked, I was like, oh, this is a great Timber game. Abed's going to do amazingly. And it's not that he's done badly, but he just hasn't really carried the game.
I'm not sure whether he's ever going to get to that stage, right? Because Timbersaw, I mean, he scales, but not as much as you might think.
Yeah, if you're snowballing super hard and, you know, you get to Dagon 5 and whatnot and you're just popping people non-stop, then sure. But like you're saying, it is scaling at this point. I guess the Ags is certainly going to help out, but he does still have to be... It's interesting, the dynamic against the Phantom Lancer, right? On the one hand, he's really good at clearing illusions and figuring out where the real PL is. On the other hand, the PL makes it really hard for him to play in terms of his mana pool. So he kind of has to just drive by the PL constantly. Can't really afford to just sit there and let him hit him. And the PL illusions are pretty tanky at this point. Kind of takes him a full combo to clear them out.
Also, it's going to be hard for Timber in the fights where, like, even if you find a PL, the real PL, Timber by himself doesn't actually output enough damage to do anything against a hard PL.
Radiant's top shrine.
We both really liked Fnatic's draft, so you feel like did they misplay this? Should they have not gone for the aggro tri-lane? Where's the disconnect for you in this game?
I think the laning stage went fine. The fact that MV has died a bunch of time really made them suffer their mid game. Because the way that Fnatic, when they're playing well, like well-oiled machine, MV is farming in the enemy jungle, and then picking people off with that shadow play. But instead, it's actually the Tiny that's essentially playing the way that Fnatic wanted to play.
Nando's spotting at Ohio here. Did not get the Shadow Blade hit off. And Ohio at this point, maybe just he's tanky enough at this stage to be able to survive the Tiny all by himself. Alright, well I guess they get this Ags on the Timber, they stall the high ground, they spam some more, and they hope that a 6-slotted Wraith King is going to help. Envy does have his Radiance up now, so I mean, a little bit of a farming item, but also quite annoying for the PL and the Tiny to deal with. Tiny doesn't really mind buying an MKB, I suppose, though Nando's actually just going to go a slightly different route and just queue up a heart. Stack some more status resistance, why don't you?
Radiant's bottom shrine is under
They're recognizing the fact that Fnatic's damage output is not that high. I mean, Firestorm's very good against all of these heart-buying heroes, but Timber is not doing enough at this moment, and of course, Wraith King is just melee, so he's gonna get kited. So I definitely like the fact that they're just stacking up on multiple heroes, getting really tanky. Because I doubt that they have, they being Fnatic, I doubt that they have enough to punch through, you know, all that heart and regen and stuff.
Yeah, they're just not going to get the opportunity to sit there and right-click and do damage. It's not like the Tiny and the PL are the only heroes for Execration. They've also got the Doom, who's been doing a decent amount of work in the fights. Even an Ogre Stun, or like the Force Staff plays as well from Raging Potato. And speaking of Raging Potato, well, I got half of my wish. He's got the Unrefined Fire Blast online. There you go. What do you do with when you get farmed on Ogre? Well, turns out you still have a pretty solid impact. I think the Force Staff play for Raging Potato has actually been the best part from him this game. And I really like the way that Execration are kind of... This is some very disciplined high ground pushing and kind of control of the game. They picked up a gem on the Silencer. They're moving around. They're trying to deward. They haven't actually dewarded everything. And Fnatic moving forward. Under cover of smoke. This is a little bit dangerous right on top of the shrine. Who can they find? They're actually going to be going over towards the Ogre first. He force-staffs himself up out of the high ground, but that's into the waiting arms of Fnatic. Shadow Shaman going to get his wards down. He knows that he's being focused by the Phantom Lancer, but they've actually managed to hex up the real one. DJ keeping himself alive, and now he's got the shackles across. Phantom Lancer taking some damage. Needs to try and disengage if he can. Nano just going to stand his ground, laying in with the auto attacks, but Envy does still have the ultimate available. That's going to end up being popped. Phantom Lancer able to disengage. The Timber Chain not going to end up going anywhere, as Doom now reflects the Doom onto himself, courtesy of the Lotus Orb. Carl still waiting on the wings. They've lost the two supports from the Fnatic side. It's just 3 cores against 3 cores at this stage, as Phantom Lancer goes running into the pit. Timber gonna be unsilenced in a second now, and we'll be able to turn around with the burst damage. Carl just barely jumping away. He's trying to juke for dear life. He does have the Manta as well. Gonna get Yulesed up, and that should be the end of him. Dead for 100 seconds on the PL. Nando wasn't really able to continue dealing too much damage in the midst of all of that. Looks like Range Drax did get finished off down at bottom, but still, that's a pretty good look for Fnatic, and now they're gonna head into the pit. Is that just a positioning thing? Again, they had the high ground, they split up the fight. DJ played so well to live as long as he did. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a positioning thing. I think they positioned better than the last team fight, but still, it was not necessary, not enough for Fnatic to take that victory. Red King with the Radiance finish, now going back for that Mjolnir. Just pick up any bit of AoE versus the PL illusion.
Nando inside the base, pops the BKB, slaps down the TP, and DJ gonna offer him the point booster to cancel his TP scroll. A little bit of BM, always good. But okay, our Fnatic, are they back in control? They're still behind by 13k net worth at this stage, but the Wraith King being able to play more aggressively in the fights with his level 20 and the Radiant seems to be working wonders. And like you were saying, Mjolnir going to get queued up. More ways to deal with these illusions. I think we've also got the Ags up on the Timber. Abed going to be queuing up an Octarine Core shortly after that. Nando has his heart. He is very tanky, but he's going to get disabled up here. Is he trapped inside of the wards? I'm not sure. The Earth Splitter also coming through. They're going to get the pit down on him. He's tanky, but is it tanky enough? The root once again. And he's dead. Oh, no.
Alright. That was 7-second BKB charge used, and Fnatic just having the numbers advantage pretty much everywhere they go. I mean, it helps when you have like Underlord to bring you around, but they've been moving quite effectively as a squad. It does reflect that on the experience graph, where Fnatic is moving around perhaps too much even with their 5-man.
They're playing split right now. Wraith King's actually got a double damage. I think Envy is egging his team on towards the high ground here. They're probably... they might actually know that Tiny doesn't have buyback, given that they just saw him with the heart. But Envy just wants this tier 3 at the very least, it looks like. He's going to get Force Staff into the base here. Ultimate available. Looks like it is going to end up being popped. They get the Hex over onto the Phantom Lancer, controlling him pretty nicely. The Gobal's going to get popped. Lumic taking damage, but able to kite back into the base. Yaj needs to find a good Doom target, but the Chakram and the Timber Chain actually getting Abed away out of this fight. Envy turning around, doing some damage. Carl having to disengage, does want to heal up a little bit. We saw what happened to him in that last fight. Just couldn't quite get the heart to do anything for himself. Envy dropping very low. The non-stop Chakram spam will keep them back. Tiny's going to respawn in about 10 seconds time. Ohio still waiting here, very far forward. The Force Staff plays once again from Raging Potato, driving him into the base. He does have the cheese available, but no Dark Rift. And now Carl jumping forward, but he just can't seem to do enough damage. The Atrophy Aura is so annoying. The Phantom Lancer just getting burdened down by the Radiance. Envy even coming back in. He does have his ultimate available. Nice Shadow Blade dodge as well from Envy there. He will now get stunned up. Raging Potato doing everything that he can, but he's It looks like Yaj just will get ticked down. Abed getting thrown over towards him. Nando doing the best that he can to fight, but he's just in the middle of everyone on Fnatic. Can't even get off any auto attacks, and looks like he's just going to get slain. We wondered about Fnatic's damage, but it looks like they've got more than enough. Carl re-engaging into this fight. At long last, Envy just wants to hit the floor since he is going to be slowing up everybody. They're very slowly working their way through the racks. They get the stun over onto the Phantom Lancer. Can they keep the chain lockdown going? He will be able to doppel across. He wants this Abed kill. But now he's going to get the Yules off. Pylai die low on mana, but actually able to keep things going courtesy of the Greaves. DL's dead. He's going to be forced to buy back, but still no Tiny. It's just the two supports and the Phantom Lancer. They're going to get some stuns on the Wraith King. Envy, no ultimate just yet. Chain stunned. Not finished. He actually has the Aegis on top of everything. They still have not done any damage to this Rax, Lumi. Ohio is doing his damnedest. He's got the 195 Atrophy Aura. Envy finally turns his attention over there. Raging Potato again with the Force Staff plays. Abed getting healed back up with the Spirit Vessel. Pylai die ready with the stomp in the back lines. And Carl just wondering how he engages into these three beefcakes on the Fnatic lineup.
I feel like he needs to be going first, although that seems like countering the whole idea of having beef frontliners, but the team fights that's really successful, he goes in, the global comes out, and he gets to assassinate DJ or whoever that was.
Yeah, whoever he manages to find. Fnatic are cashed up now. The net worth gap has closed significantly, and Ohio is now picking up a heart. So we have a 3.7k health Underlord. They've got only a 2.6k health Wraith King, but he's got 2 lives. And they've got the 3.2k health Timbersaw. That's versus the almost 5k health Tiny, but as we've seen, the Tiny's actually looking very killable in these fights. So I don't know what needs to change for Execration. Just gotta get that initiation, I suppose. Vision situation for them not great. I think they still have their, oh no, looks like they've lost their gem. That is unfortunate, and they're not even bot. They're just kind of milling around in their jungle. They don't have a glyph available either, and the Mass Serpent Ward's gonna get dropped down. Those are Ag's wards. They're going to make very quick work of these buildings. Lumic finally TPing in. Nando a little bit further behind. Carl trying to come in out of the back lines. He looks towards Abed, forced to dodge a stun. DJ hanging a long way back, and Pylai Die also in a great position, using the cores as a shield, preventing them from getting through. They are going to come in. They get the Doom over onto the Timbersaw, but they have to focus him down. Carl knows it. They do get a nice multicast onto the Timber. They finish him off. Now they get over into the trees. They find DJ. He's shackling up whoever he can. He's going to try for the TP out. It looks like he might actually be able to escape. Envy not brought along with the Dark Rift out, but he's actually still fine. And he just limps his way out of there. In the end, Rax take big damage. The tier 3 gets taken out. But Execration do hold successfully. That was better, right? They had the Phantom Lancer kind of come in from the side right as the Doom went in from the front. And actually managed to focus the Timber down that time. Because the previous time he got doomed, but then still Timber chained away. And they couldn't finish him. So, alright, Execration's turn to maybe make something happen. They push in the mid lane pretty heavily. Tiny opting for the 3 toss charges at 25. I feel like I've pretty much only seen the 3 toss charges. It's just sort of more lockdown than or it gives you more playmaking potential than the Avalanche cooldown. Nope. Alright, they've spotted out Raging Potato. Is he going to get hit by the Earth Splitter? Gets dragged back in. Pi doing tons of damage all by himself. The multicast will rain down, but Abed's coming around the corner now. Tree's getting cut down. He does still manage to get some more damage on. Eternal Envy finds Lumic, and I don't think there's any escape for this poor Silencer. That's revenge for all that stolen int in the early game. As Execration trying to play a little bit of a scrappier game. They've got the bottom lane shoving in, so someone has to go and deal with that. But with Octarine Core and Boots of Travel, that's very easy for Abed to handle at this stage. It feels like Fnatic have really just flipped the switch in the last few minutes.
I wonder if there's like some item that they picked up as a major power spike that allowed them to do that. But the way that these fights are developing, it just feels like they're in a better position. Yeah. And not necessarily, you know, their heroes are coming online. Their heroes are always strong enough to actually put up a good fight against Execration's heroes. Just that they have been doing it wrong for a bit.
Yeah. It feels like it must be kind of the Radiance plus level 20 on the Wraith King, right? Envy's been able to kind of lead the fights a bit more, like threaten the buildings when it comes to the high ground. It just kind of gives their team fight the structure that it was lacking before, because it has to be Wraith King as the front man, right? They can't really, they can kind of put the Underlord up there, but he's also somewhat important for counter initiation. And I guess at this point he's so tanky that he can just be in the front line and not really have to worry too much. But that to me seems like the biggest thing that changed between all the previous fights and then this one that happened over here, which they ended up winning.
Yeah, and he's getting Heart next, so... By the way, this is going to be a very big point of game. If Radiant finishes this, they will get the Refresher Shard onto the Shaman, who already has the Aghanim, of course. This could be just straight up GG. Like, they could just walk down mid now and then just take
I don't think. I mean, the only other person that you would even remotely consider giving it to is Envy, right? But I think he's got enough lives. So there's a little bit of a marginal disadvantage. We've got to have the initiation coming in to get the avalanche out into 2. Envy doing all right. Ohio's still in the pit. The toss is coming out. Carl jumping into the backlines. Who's he managed to find? Shadow Shaman still limping away, able to use his Ghost Scepter to help survive. Timbersaw has been doomed up, still tanking through everything, however, as Ohio now just standing in the middle of the fight, making it difficult to do damage. They finally bring down DJ. Those crits coming into play for the Phantom Lancer. The Doom running through. Ohio still chasing. They will manage to bring down Lumik. It's just the position 5's dead so far, but Yaj will get brought down. Envy's ultimate was popped, but he still has the Aegis, and Nando running away from the fight to go and push out some lanes, as Execration not really claiming all that much after all said and done.
Refresher shard being held up right now. Envy's holding it, so maybe he wants the third life. I highly doubt it. Just holding it for the shaman.
Yeah, I would imagine so. It's just, if you've already died twice or potentially even 3 times, like ulti, Aegis,
the team's already
ulti,
dead.
Yeah, they're dead. They're long dead. There's no chance that they're still around to try and save you. Nando's been doing some pretty effective split pushing. I mean, the game also really fell apart once he got caught that one time. So I feel like he's being a bit more conservative. Or he's only really cutting waves at this point. He isn't trying to go for any solo pickoffs. Part of that is because all of the Fnatic heroes, I think, at this point have the items to be able to survive if he goes on them. Or at least, like, waste enough of his time that somebody else arrives and he ends up dying. So... can they split push this game out, do you think? There's no way against the Underlord and the Timbersaw, right? They can push lanes just as well as Execration can with their cores. Or if not better.
I wonder if it's going to be a solo play. Oh my god, there's even an Arcane Rune. Is DJ going to pick that up?
Nope.
Looks like Envy's going to pick it. There's a gem just on the deck.
Yeah. They notice it now. They're pinging it out. DJ's gonna backpack his dust, grab the gem instead. Shiva's up on the Doom. Still no level 25 just yet. Phantom Lancer has an Abyssal Blade.
Yep.
Seems like a nice item.
Okay, it does, but is it enough against this team? Envy
they're
walking right in.
They're inside the base. Are they just going to go for it? There's ward set 1,
Yes,
there's ward
are.
set 2. They are going to be able to pop the glyph, but can they clean up these wards fast enough? Carl forced to jump forward into the stuns, into the pit. He's in big trouble. They are going to pop the global silence to try and keep him alive. Nice glimmer cape as well, but Envy just turns his attention back over towards these tier 4s. Yaj doing decent damage with the Infernal Blade. They have managed to get the Doom over onto the Timber, but once again, Abed surviving for a decent amount of time. He buys back now. Will be rejoining the fight. Also a buyback coming out of Nando. He's being finished off. Carl so low. I think he probably also has a buyback. He'll be forced to use it. Nando's still fighting. The first tier 4 is dead. Lumik forced to back away. They've got a shackle onto the Ogre. He'll be brought down. Yaj doing everything that he can. Carl, I think it all comes down to him at this point, and he gets slept up, he gets stunned, he gets right-clicked, and he'll be finished off. That should be the game. Nando forced to retreat. The last couple of wards finally killed, but Fnatic, they slam the door closed, and will end up taking this first game here against Execration.
GG.
I mean, well played by Fnatic. They brought back like almost a 20k net worth lead.
This is even to me more impressive than a victory than that they had yesterday, where it was like 30-minute wins, 2 games in a row. To me, this shows that Fnatic has a really strong backbone. Like, especially when the fact that during that mid game, we're saying, you know, what exactly was their win condition? They weren't gonna scale as well. Their heroes are lacking the damage that they need to kill anybody fast. But turns out they're not looking to kill anybody fast. They're looking to just outlast you. And during that last team fight, the Mass Serpent wards were up for what, a good full minute, and they just fought around that. And yeah, they did so much damage.
Yeah, I love the way that they played the space, right? They put the pit down on top of the wards, and then they just stood there. The PL even managed to escape for a second, and they were just like, just let him go. It's fine. He has to come back to deal with the wards. We know that we're in a game-winning position at the moment, and yeah, it seems like you can see the moment on the graph where the anime music kicked in, and Fnatic just took over. But it's not over just yet. There is still a best of 3 to be played, so Execration still have an opportunity to come back and take us to a full 3 games. If they don't, Fnatic are going to be moving forward into the next stage of the Bucharest major SEA qualifiers. Any other closing thoughts on this game, Lumi, before we move into the next one?
Yeah, that graph where it spikes up is where Envy finished his anime training,
Yep.
stepped out of the chamber and went to work.
All right. With that said, we're going to go to a short break, guys. Please join us in a couple of minutes for Game 2 of Fnatic versus Execration.